Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Soul Sparks. I'm your host, Pragya Malvia, and tonight we are going somewhere tender and transformative. Think about it. How often do the struggles that we face as adults really trace back to those tiny moments in childhood? A word, an absence, a wound we didn't know that we carried. And yet, those very wounds can become the seed of wisdom. Our guest tonight, VC Pitt, knows this deeply. She's an author, grandmother, a breast cancer survivor, and a spiritual high priestess. Through her own journey of survival, she's explored spiritual paths, plant medicine, and discovered the profound power of unconditional love. This isn't just about healing pain, it's also about remembering the gifts of the soul. And I can't wait for you to hear her story. So let's dive in. Thank you, VC. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pragya. It is an honor to be here.
It's an honor for us that you're here today. VC, so let's begin at the roots, right? So, in your experience, how do childhood wounds, how do those early invisible scars end up shaping the way we give and receive love? And how much we trust as adults? Also, do you think that simply acknowledging those early wounds can be the first real doorway into healing? What do you have to say about it?
Well, my early childhood wounds includes abandonment and rejection. My mother left the state without telling me after divorce when I was 10. My father physically abused my brother and mother, and I luckily only saw and heard these encounters that shaped me. I suppressed so much of that until in the last few years. And so when you suppress that, it can come out in different ways. It can create anxiety, depression, many, many different things. And so I tried traditional therapy. And I do want to say that the only way my father would give my mother a divorce was to get custody of us because he didn't want to pay child support. So a lot of these things I did not know until in the last few years. So I did traditional therapy for a period of time. It really didn't help me. I was seeking what can I do to purge this from my inner being. I didn't feel safe a large portion of my childhood and part of my adulthood. And so after I realized traditional therapy was not going to help me, I delved into other things, including plant medicine. I have done 9 ayahuasca journeys. I have done now 10 mushroom psilocybin journeys. And through that, I have healed more than with traditional therapy. It can really cause us to do many things. I overcompensated in my professional life. I had a really big business without a college degree. And so there's just so many things that happens. And through plant medicine, it makes more sense to me than anything. And I hope here in the States and other places that it will be legalized in the future.
That was so lovely. And thank you for sharing your story with us. And I hope a lot of people they resonate with it and they just uh, truly get the point. Also, as you said that you worked with plant medicine, and many listeners, they might have only heard about it through documentaries, or as you've said, the whispers of ayahuasca ceremonies. So, but for you, what was the human need or the ache that brought you to explore it? You've already mentioned it, but I want to know more deeper spiritual. path of it?
Well, for me, I have a twin flame, and so he had mentioned it to me at one time. And so I started researching. I didn't even I couldn't even spell it at first. And so I started researching it and I found that it offered many things. So for me, it was about connecting to God, to divine, to spirit. And I saw many things. The first journey that I had, I was catapulted into the universe. I saw colors that had no names. The next journey was about, I was upside down on the cross. I didn't even know that that was something that, that happened for the Apostle Peter. And so these journeys, I wanted to do more. I wanted to get to the heart of what all it means. I started receiving messages while I was under these type of medicines, and also THC. I do a lot of that, and it actually reactivates um, when I'm going through these journeys. I've seen God's energy. Jesus has appeared to me 4 different times. The last time I saw him, I had done a lot of heavy healing for our planet. And he appeared to me and looked just like the Shroud of Turin. He had olive skin and he was smiling. He was beautiful. And he hugged me, and it was just an experience like no other. And there's so many things that I had done in my adult life. I was very naive as a child. And unfortunately, a lot of things happened for me after my divorce. I went through many things, including seeking love through sex. And so I knew that through everything that has happened, if Jesus can appear to me and God's energy with me, I know that I was a forgiven soul. So, people that are not receiving healing or what they are hoping, it doesn't turn out that way. They have to remain on medications for anxiety and depression. This might be an avenue that you could look up and, like, to do it here in the States. I went to a place in Orlando, Florida called SoulQuest. And through SoulQuest, you sign a religious waiver, and that allowed me to be able to do these journeys here in the States. I did one a month after I came out of breast cancer treatment. And so, through these journeys and through my spiritual path, unconditional love is all that is. When people tend to love, they tend to love with conditions. They may hold something over their partner, spouses, family, or friends over their heads. And that is not unconditional love. A lot of times, intimacy is withheld in a relationship when someone doesn't do what they're wanting that partner to do. So for me, and I will tell you, God wants us to love in 5D. As we transition to new earth, that is what will become and result in the redeemed humanity. And so that is what all of this has brought me to.
That is so, so great. And yeah, that's first of all, that's so, so fascinating. And thank you for sharing that journey with us. Also, I agree to a lot of things that you've said. You know, we try on so many things until we find that one path that really, really makes us happy, right?
Right.
And that is pretty much the story that you just shared. And thank you for that. Also, forgiveness and unconditional love. It sounds beautiful, But let's be real that they feel impossible when you're in the middle of a betrayal or pain or loss. For example, if I have just had a heartbreak, I won't think my first thought would not be forgiveness or, still loving that same person. Hypothetical situation, right? So, what did what did it look like for you in practice? Not the theory, but the messy human part. And it surely does not have to be perfect. So, what did it look for you and to you?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry for your heartbreak. It's always very hard, and we've all experienced heartbreak in our lives. Now, I'm going to give you a recent example of what I have been dealing with. So, for me, I, I harbored grudges and resentment for many, many years, decades. And through this, think about how God and Jesus, or whoever you believe in, how they forgive us for actions that we take that are not in that unconditional love. They still love us. But you have to have boundaries in place when people do hurt you. So, for example, I went with family that I adored. I went with family to the beach a couple of weeks ago. And through that time, I wanted the family to do a live Facebook asking me questions about the book. Well, they're religious and I'm spiritual. They let me know that my beliefs didn't align with theirs and they would not ask me questions. They let me know that they didn't agree with my mushroom usage. And the thing about it is, you at that time, unconditional love does not mean letting someone run over you. It means creating boundaries, establishing them. And you meet people where they're at. And so I still love them unconditionally, but it's all changed. So that's the biggest thing, establishing boundaries and meeting people where they're at. So that's how I deal with things. We're not to be run over by people. And sometimes you have to make a choice too. You can love people from afar, but sometimes you have to exclude them from your life. That doesn't mean you don't love them, but that's what I've had to do with my brother too. So that's how I deal with it.
That is so again, it's healing, basically, the things that you've
Right.
said and what you've shared. A lot of people, they share it, they obviously do, but sometimes it's just that one person that you really trust in, to who will give you that one advice. And I hope that you're that to our listeners, and they take this advice, they implement it, and they just not hear it and leave it
Right.
aside. Because the insights that you've given, we've actually heard them before, we've been there, but it's just so simple that it's exactly that every time. It's the boundaries that we have to create, and boundaries is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Agree to it. For sharing that.
Very, very much so. And sometimes people that are in our lives, family, friends, they may be karmic energy from a previous lifetime. You may have a contract with that person, a soul contract that you need to fulfill. And sometimes these are soul, deep soul lessons. And so, that is what I have come to the conclusion of as well. So also, if you tend to repeat similar situations with different people, that means that it could be karma, it could be that repeating lesson. And until you change what you are doing, it is going to continue to creep up through the same people or different people. So that is something else that people need to be aware of.
That is so true. So true. Also, you talk about clear gifts, right? Clairvoyance, clairsentience, intuition. And many people hear those words and they wonder, do I have something like that, or is it just for a chosen few? So, what was the first experience that made you realize that this is real, this is mine, and this is something that is not just a vocabulary word, but it's actually real?
Well, my gifts, my strongest one is clairsentience. That is that gut feel. You may say, I don't need to go down that street or drive down that road. It's that intuitive feeling. We all have it. It's just tapping into it. And so I only thought I had clairsentience until the last few years. My journey started in November of 2017. And a couple of years later, I started having um, clair audience. And so that is that clear hearing. So clairsentience is clear feeling, the gut feel. And also, I built my business on clairsentience. Doctors learned to listen when I said, my gut says. And so, the clairaudience, around 2019, I started channeling songs and words, songs that I had no idea what they were. Most of them were from the 1970s. It's words that drop into your head. I was walking on our greenway, and I was very upset because I was heavily drinking at that time. I was not an alcoholic, but the words numbing out dropped into my head. And when I heard that, I started trying to really try to clean my act up. And so that clairsentience is my strongest, clairaudience is my second strongest. And I've had a few instances of clairvoyance. So that is the clear seeing. We see through our third eye. It can be a past event, it can be a future event. And so like I said, I've not had that many of those, but through journeys and plant medicine, it's increasing. So claircognizance is clear knowing. So that's where thoughts drop in out of nowhere. It's like, why am I thinking that? You need to listen. That is your higher self, your inner wisdom coming through. A couple of the ones that people don't know a whole lot about is clairalience, and that is clear smelling. So that may be you're smelling your grandfather's cigarettes, your grandmother's perfume, and it's you smell scents that aren't present. And I've had those happen. A lot of times it's flowers or cigarettes that I smell. I haven't figured out the purpose of that one yet. Another one that I've had a few instances of is clairgustinance. So that is clear tasting. You taste something without eating it. So I sometimes taste fruit. One that I would love to have that I've not experienced yet is clairtangency, and that is clear touch. So that would be picking an object up, say a pencil or a pen, something like that that belongs to someone, and you receive messages or visions through that. So those are the clair gifts. Everyone can tap into it when you connect with your higher self and are open to spiritual modalities and means, that's when they start happening more. So yeah, I highly recommend people tap into their spiritual gifts.
That is so insightful. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
And for listeners who are here, how can they start recognizing the quiet signals of their own gifts, like those gut nudges um, that are there, and those dreams or those sensations that often they get brushed off as coincidences. So yeah, how can they start recognizing those?
Well, meditation's very important. So I recommend a lot of frequency sounds music on YouTube. One of the ones I listen a lot to is 432 hertz. And when you let your mind, that ego that takes over so much in our minds, if you will just let go. And I have monkey mind. It's hard for me to stay focused sometimes. But once you start listening, you allow that inner guidance to come through. It can really change your world. It can open up things. But I do again think that plant medicine has helped me to speed up my gifts.
Mhm. That's right. That's right. Also, okay, let's picture someone listening right now. That they might be lying in their bed, or maybe staring at the ceiling, or feeling that weight of grief or trauma pressing down on them. So, what would you say is one small, or I would say a doable step that they could take tonight before they even fall asleep to start loosening that weight, or to feel a bit lighter, so it feels a bit better.
Well, I mean, I've had many sleepless nights. And so what I do when I am in that state, I truly I pray for my angels, my spirit guides, my higher self to help me through that. And you know, it relax your mind. And that is one of the biggest things. You have to relax. Just you have to drift off. It doesn't mean going to sleep. Allow your mind to be blank. And when that happens, sometimes you get messages, and that is a step in the right direction. I trust and have full faith in God. And so when I've had my struggles, and I had a lot, like everyone else, once you do that and turn this over to your higher power, then that allows for these beautiful things to come through. Um, I mean, sometimes I do get different messages, meaning when sometimes I've received things like "You're loved, you're pure, you're kind." So I take those messages and embrace those and always hope for more messages like that.
Mhm. That's the right practice to do. And Um, yeah, that is so great. Also, it gives you that sense of hope and peace when you send it to your angels, your guidance angels, and just the ones who are just there for you, or whoever you have faith in. That really puts it into the picture. Also, everybody, VC Pitt has reminded us tonight that our wounds, they do not chain us, they can actually become the spark of transformation. Uh, it might be through forgiveness or unconditional love that we talked about, and even the courage to explore paths outside the norm. We discover not just healing, but our soul's deeper gifts, right? And also, it's just not about forgiveness and unconditional love. It's also about your own boundaries, your own belief of yourself, and your own self awareness, where you want yourself, where you want to see yourself, right? So maybe tonight you can take one small step, whether it's forgiving or it's journaling or, talking to yourself about your own self, sitting in silence, or, simply saying to yourself that I am ready to heal. Basically, introspection, right? And this is Pragya Malviya, and you've been listening to Soul Sparks. Until next time, trust your journey, your honor of your gifts, and let your light shine forward.